Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cherokee Begum, and today I will be answering questions based off various topics that support professional learning for teachers and staff. Culturally responsive teaching acknowledges that influences from not only a teacher's background but a student's as well, values cultural diversity as an asset, and intentionally adapts instruction to create equitable and inclusive learning environments for all students. Cultural influences can shape teaching and learning through communication, participation, expectations, and decision making in the classroom. Culture not only affects what a student learns, but how they learn and how that learning can be demonstrated later on. When an educator has cultural competence, that means that educator is able to understand, respect, and effectively respond to the cultural and linguistic backgrounds of all of their students. This involves knowledge of diverse cultures, self-reflection, and the ongoing intentional use of knowledge to guide instruction, interactions, and decision-making. Cultural competence supports academic achievement, language development, and social and emotional well-being, ensuring that all English learning students have equitable opportunities to succeed in school. Cultural competence also plays a critical role in the instruction of English learners by creating inclusive learning environments where students' linguistic and cultural assets are recognized and leveraged in their learning. Integrating an English learner's cultural values and beliefs can be done appropriately and effectively by intentionally using them as assets that support academic content, language development, and student engagement, while avoiding stereotypes. Integration should be respectful, purposeful, and connected to their learning goals. When done effectively and with a purpose, integrating culture enhances learning, strengthens identity, and supports both academic success and language development for all English learning students. Culture can play a foundational role in a student's learning because it shapes how a student not only thinks, but how they communicate, how they engage, and how they make meaning of new information. Learning is shaped by a student's culture, and it is also shaped by how a student's identities, experiences, and social context have influenced them through their lifetime. When an educator can recognize and honor a culture as an asset, they can create an inclusive learning environment that supports deeper understanding, stronger engagement, and a more equitable outcome for all students, especially if those students are English learners. School and classroom environments can play a critical role in language acquisition because language develops through a meaningful interaction. Language develops when a student feels that they are safe, and it also develops when there are rich academic experiences happening in the classroom. For English learners, the type of environment can either accelerate their language development or create barriers in their participation and also in their growth. When classrooms are inclusive environments that are supportive, culturally responsive, and linguistically rich, they create conditions necessary for all students to develop and for English learners to develop their English while maintaining confidence, identity, and academic growth. While supporting and celebrating cultural diversity within instruction, you can intentionally design learning experiences that value, affirm, and leverage a student's cultural identity while maintaining high academic expectations. Creating a student-centered learning experience that reflects and respects cultural identity is how that students are shaped and formed in classrooms. When diversity is treated as a strength, students are more engaged, confident, and successful academically while developing respect for others. Some of these strategies can include engaging family and communities, fostering respectful dialogue and cultural awareness, creating a classroom environment that reflects diversity, and integrating cultural practices authentically. There are also strategies for leveraging home language and cultural assets. This means intentionally using a student's existing linguistic skills, cultural knowledge, and lived experiences to support their learning and language development. Using bilingual resources and supports, integrating cultural knowledge into content, validating and celebrating multilingualism, and using home language for family connection also allows for these supports as well. When an educator can respond effectively to diverse strengths, needs, and identities of English language learners, including those with disabilities, this requires an asset-based, individualized, and collaborative approach. Some of these strategies can be differentiated instruction, applying universal design for learning, distinguishing language acquisition from disabilities, and supporting ELs with disabilities. Responsive instruction for English learners, including those with special needs, requires that educators and the school systems can recognize these students as a whole person with intersecting identities. By combining differentiation, universal design for learning, collaboration, culturally responsive practices, educators can meet diverse needs while promoting academic success, language development, and a strong sense of belonging. Being able to meet the social emotional needs of English language learners is critical because their emotional and social well-being can directly impact their academic success, their language acquisition, their engagement, and their behavior in the classroom. These students face unique challenges because they come in having to adjust to cultures, to language barriers, and can even experience social isolation. When teachers build strong, trusting relationships, foster a sense of belonging, integrate social and emotional learning, and provide opportunities for safe expression for these students, it can boost their academic success and their emotional well-being to further their language acquisition. Understanding the social, emotional, and cultural needs of students is essential when establishing classroom routines and procedures. Some classroom routines and procedures can also involve and shape a student's sense of safety, belonging, and readiness to learn. Routines and procedures can promote a sense of safety and predictability, support social emotional development, and it can also honor cultural norms and communication styles. Funds of knowledge or family and community practices play a powerful role in influencing language learning because they provide English language students with a rich, meaningful, and contextually relevant experience that supports both cognitive and linguistic development. The influence can bridge home, community, and school experiences. And by valuing and integrating these experiences, teachers can create a meaningful, culturally relevant instruction that promotes vocab development, comprehension, oral language skills, identity information, and engagement for all English language learners.